Welcome to the EQ video tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter, and as always, we're so glad you're back with us for another terrific show. Before we jump in, let's review the goals of EQ video tip. Welcome back. We've got a great show on tap, and we're going to talk about a brief guide to navigating periods of disorder. And let's face it, we all have disorder in our lives. Everything seems smooth at times, but then chaos comes upon us. And Brad Stulberg, I should say, wrote this great article on how to navigate those crazy times when life comes crashing down. And again, it's hard to imagine, but you might have order, then disorder, and then reorder in your life, or orientation, disorientation, and then reorientation. And we're going to talk about how to get back to that point in your life when that order that you had turned into chaos and now you need to reorder it. Let's jump into some of Brad's great tips. Thanks. Tip number 1, stop resisting what's happening. Instead, focus on what you can control and not to worry about things that are out of your control. For example, if we're looking at the elections, worrying about it and constantly thinking about what could happen in the elections is going to stress you out. There's a lot of anxiety that will be produced with it. However, deciding what you want for lunch, that's in your control, and you can decide, hey, I want a tuna sandwich or a turkey sub. Doesn't really matter. So take the time and don't waste your energy on things that you can't control. Rather, focus on what you can control and try not to worry about the other pieces, because in life, we mentioned it's kind of cyclical in terms of how you go through your days and how you'll go through periods of order to disorder and then back to reorder. Take the time to think about that to help you get through those tough transitions. Tip number 2, nail those daily habits and use routines. And what do we mean by that? Well, make sure that you're getting a good night rest every week, and make sure that you're eating good foods and have a special routine for daily habits that basically support your underlying physiological and psychological needs. At the same time, create routines and habits that you're going through so your mind doesn't have to make all these choices throughout a day. It makes it so much easier when you don't have to make a choice as opposed to having to choose different things throughout the day. So make sure you're nailing your daily habits as well as creating a routine to help you through that disorder. Tip number 3, stay connected. There's studies out there that shows resilience increases when you have a sense of community. So make sure you're connecting to your neighbors, to your local schools, to your local religious affiliation, as well as to your coworkers. The more you can stay connected, the more resilient you'll be, and the easier it will be when you go through some difficult change. Because at some point, someone's going to move your cheese or someone's going to do something that's going to create chaos in your life. And you want to have a community there to help support you as well. Our next tip, and I love this one, respond, don't react. And what we should do is use the 4 Ps. Pause, process, plan, then proceed. Very simple. Pause, process, plan, proceed. Very simple, but important words, and that allows you to respond to something as opposed to reacting to it. Think about that next time when chaos hits your life. Our last tip, and this is a great one as well. Show up, get through it, and worry about the meaning of it on the other end. And what do we mean by that? Well, there's big studies out there that talk about getting through challenging times can be really tough, but once you're through it and you understand it, it becomes more powerful, more meaningful for you, and more productive for you as well. So getting through that experience, as difficult it may seem, is something that at the end of the day will be helpful for you. And you have to figure out, how do I get through and get to that reorder area where you can adapt to it as opposed to change to it. Take these tips and hopefully they'll help you out in terms of your period of chaos or disorder that's going on in your life. Thanks again for watching. We really appreciate it as always. Again, here are quick reviews of these tips that we have for getting through those chaotic times and getting from order to disorder and then back to reordering as well. Use them to your best of your ability and hopefully they'll help boost your EQ as well. Thanks. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember,
Use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.